Hey, how's it going guys? Hope you're all having an amazing day. Many of you may know Hitman 3 was announced at the PlayStation 5 reveal event, and while the only thing they revealed was a mission on Dubai, I thought it may be a good time to make a wish list for Hitman 3. Before we get into the wish list, I just have to say I have loved IO Interactive's recent take on the Hitman games. Hitman 1 and 2 were a huge breath of fresh air to the stealth genre, and I think the games are really underrated. Now granted, they're not perfect, there are definitely some issues regarding story and narrative, but here's hoping those are resolved in Hitman 3. Something I would like to have in Hitman 3, and was actually in the old Hitman games, is the ability to dual wield. Agent 47 was always kinda known for his dual wielded pistols, and well, we haven't had that in the past two games. I think bringing back the dual wields would be a cool nod to the previous games, and I also think the ability to dual wield will create for more variety and just overall look cooler. The dual wielding doesn't just have to be for the pistols either, I mean having it for melee weapons or distractions would also be very cool. Now based from the small glimpse we saw from the Hitman 3 gameplay, Agent 47 still only has one pistol, so dual wielding's unlikely, but hey, doesn't hurt to suggest the idea, right? Back to what I mentioned earlier though, with the issues regarding the story in the first two games. The story really didn't feel very prevalent in the game, and what we did have was some still images with voiceover, which were kinda weird and I didn't really like them. Now since Hitman 3 is the final installment in the trilogy, the game is really going to be the most story heavy yet, so I'm really hoping we can get some real cutscenes this time. I mean, is it really that much to ask for, especially with the technology these days, and the fact that the games from over a decade ago even had cutscenes? Now Hitman has always been more gameplay focused anyway, and that's fine, but it's really always lacked a true story, and from what we got from the first two games, there's definitely potential. I thought finding out about Agent 47's and even Diana Burnwood's past was pretty cool, so I think actual full-fledged cutscenes will do a much better job at delivering that narrative. Now kind of shifting gears back to gameplay a little bit, I would really like to see some form of in-depth progression system in Hitman 3. Sure, the first two games had a leveling system, but the rewards honestly didn't have much of an impact and you kind of feel the same throughout each mission. I think adding some sort of reward system with new weapons and tools as you progress is a great idea. Along with this, I think an ability system would be great to have in the Hitman game. They could do something very similar to what other games do and have you unlock new gameplay mechanics and increase stats as you level up Agent 47 and gain ability points. I think that would be really cool to have in Hitman, and it would just add more incentive to get better mission ratings and overall just keep playing the game. Now let's touch on the multiplayer a little bit, because Hitman has lots of potential there. I loved the ghost mode for Hitman 2, and it was surprisingly a lot more in depth than I expected, which is a pretty nice treat for a game that's been known as a strict single player. Now I'm hoping for Hitman 3 they take this one step further and maybe create a new mode that involves multiple players in a lobby. I always thought the idea of having maybe one person plays the hitman and then the others as guards, and then have one person plays the target and the hitman has to try and take out the target without being caught by one of the guards. I think this game mode will definitely encourage a lot more planning and strategy, which is definitely what I feel like the ghost mode is missing at times. Of course, they could create this new game mode with maybe a couple updates to Ghost War as well. That would be fantastic and just add to the game's value and longevity, I think. It obviously doesn't have to be the idea I just suggested, but some kind of larger scale multiplayer I think would be pretty awesome to see in a Hitman game. Now, kind of tracking back to the story a little bit here, I wanted to touch on Agent 47 as a character. It's been 20 years since the deadly bald-headed enforcer of death has gazed upon our screens, and after all this time, Agent 47's story has never had a proper ending. Sure, there were some endings, but we've never really seen a conclusion to his character. Now obviously Hitman 3 is the final installment in the World of Assassination trilogy, and in the way the story is being described, it's highly possible this will be Agent 47's final time suiting up. Now if this is the case, I think it's really important he gets a proper send-off, so I hope we find some sort of satisfying closure in the game that leaves the fans happy, if it is indeed the last Hitman game with 47. The developers also confirmed that Hitman 3 is not only going to be the deadliest, game yet, but it's also going to be the darkest and most mature of the trilogy. And while I doubt 47 will die at the end or anything, I feel like there needs to be some sort of big, unpredictable twist in this game that might actually make people more invested into the story and maybe leave us with a bit of closure to the series. This could also make it more possible for new protagonists, and as much as I love 47, I feel like he's already been done to death, so a new fresh Hitman may be exactly what the series needs. And what better game to end 47's journey in than in Hitman 3? That pretty much sums up my wish list for Hitman 3. If you guys have anything to add, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to talk about the Hitman series with you guys and what you want in Hitman 3. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.